to speak into our lives. And on behalf of all of This Is It team, we wanted to honor you. Tsunami that's about to happen with This Is It team. Mentioned July 19th to the 20th, and I'm telling you what, you better get another couple more robot machines. These guys are flat fired up, and they are not leaving anybody behind. But we are so thankful, so grateful, and blessed for you, who you are, what you represent, the company, your work ethic, but especially just having a friend in you. We're so thankful. Thank you.
Honestly, I don't know why they're giving me an award. These are the heroes up over here. Please give them a great round of applause. Nothing happens in this company without great leadership. And, actually, while I do think of all of you as leaders, I really think of you all as being messengers of hope. And, we're told in the Bible that we should be a light on a hill. We've all met people that just struggle with energy and they're tired in the afternoon and they have to rely on stimulants. And these beacons of hope have been there to answer the call and be there to help people in need. We've all met people that were suffering with sleep and they had to rely on pharmaceutical drugs. But now these beacons of hope were there to help those people and have them get a good night's sleep. We've all met people, unfortunately, that were suffering in chronic pain and were living off of pharmaceutical drugs and didn't see any hope. But yet these beacons of hope were there to help those people overcome that pain. This is an enormous calling in life. It's something that we're really all compelled to do. There was this man that lived 2,000 years ago. His name was Jesus Christ. And he asked us to do one thing very simple, which is to love others. And what he would do is he would go out and teach us about the kingdom of God and the kingdom of heaven. He would teach us that we should feed people that are hungry. He taught us that we should heal those that are sick and live a life of self-sacrifice so that we can help others in need and make this world a better place. And that's what I think of when I think of these leaders, that they're there to be these beacons of hope. They're there to help people in need. They're there to be an example, and they're there to show that this world that we live in can be an amazing place. All we have to do is just care for one another and to be there for those in need. So please give a warm round of applause and let's give thanks to these amazing elite leaders that we have.
Absolutely a huge crowd here tonight. Just try to give you guys some perspective of this.
Okay, we are so excited to have you, David, here. We got some questions all the leaders have put together, and I'm looking forward to helping you answer them, but we're excited to have you here. I know you've been traveling. Where you've been in Europe, where you've been traveling, tell them a little bit what we've been up to.
I have a bone to pick with you.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that we were following a comedian. You know, that's really tough. That's really tough, and I don't know one joke. So that would be my complaint. Anything other than that, we're good. So don't worry. I'll answer whatever questions you have.
Yeah, we are so blessed. Everyone's been on the edge of their seat waiting for you to get here. So we're excited to have you. Are you excited to have me here?
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Thank you.
And we are, you know, you don't often get to sit with a gentleman that's got over 130 patents. Is that the number now?
No. No, I stopped counting at 150. My uncle Paul, who is a brilliant inventor, he did a lot of work for our government, and he was developing semiconductors. So those of you that have cell phones, it doesn't matter if it's an Apple or an Android, there are semiconductors that are in those phones that my uncle invented. And he had about 150 patents. So when I hit that number, I stopped counting.
Wow. Yeah. Amazing, amazing. Give him a hand. It's amazing. And you get to sit here and listen, chatting like a fireside chat, and start learning of someone who took a company from nowhere, now knocking on over $400 million, going to $500 million. Before the end of the year is our goal. Are you guys ready to help us hit that? So we're excited about that. So we got some questions put together. Tell them a little bit first about it. I love every time I share the opportunity, I talk about you. And I talk about how you took this X39 dream that you had, and it took you 10 years of research, over $4.5 million of investment, the stamina, the grit, the stick-to-itness. Can you just give them that kind of mindset? Because we don't want anyone left behind, but we want people to understand that sometimes you got to put some more effort into it to get to where you want to be. Maybe you got to change how you speak. Maybe you got to brush your teeth. Maybe you got to, not talk so much. I mean, everyone's got to do some kind of tweaking sometimes to accomplish their dream. Tell them a little bit that kind of mindset that you were going to get to that level and how long it took to get there.
Yeah, I would say that it's a really good thing to be challenged in life, to encounter problems and to encounter obstacles, because it gives you an opportunity to grow as a human being and to think about things in an entirely different way. And Lifewave went through two incredibly bad things. One in 2006, and then the other, which was almost 10 years to the month, in 2016, where we went through this. In 2006, it was a credit card scam, and then in 2016, it was a crash of our computer system. And in both cases, it had this incredibly detrimental effect on the business, where we almost went out of business. And I'd say the good part about that was a number of things. Number one, it gave me an opportunity to really dig deep, to pray, and to ask for guidance, and then look and see what doors we're going to open. But you stay patient, you stay persistent, you do the daily things that you know are going to lead to success. And in the case of X39, we had put in, like you say, it was about 10 years of research. We had started at the National University of Ireland. We had been doing the stem cell research. We were working with Dr. Norm Shealy, doing stem cell research on regenerating damaged nerves. We're working with Dr. Glenn Ryan, doing this in vitro work on stem cells. And the main problem that I was encountering was that the equipment to activate the stem cells was extremely expensive, and it could only be used in a hospital. And so I had to think about, how can we make this available to everybody, do it inexpensively, do it in a way that's completely safe. And X39 was born at a time in the company when it was going through an enormous struggle. So I think, the takeaway on this is some incredibly beautiful, great things come out of some of the darkest times.
What I love about that is that you've proven that you can go through those kind of struggles to all of us. And you know, none of us have to get so nervous and jump so quickly, but we got to just stick and fight to what we know that we can win at. And when you got someone that's a fighter like that, that's gone through it, imagine the kind of already what the strategy and the experience is what I'm looking for. If you already got that experience, you don't have to have it come up again. You want to be following and teaming up with a partner like that. Am I right? Right? So thanks for fighting through it. We wouldn't have this. It's a fine line. You know, when we talk about if someone didn't talk to somebody, you might not be in this room. Well, if he didn't push through, we wouldn't have the opportunity. Okay? I got a question for you, because I talk about this all the time, and maybe this is something that I didn't hear from you in the past, but imagine the genius. I call you a genius every time I'm speaking. Every night when I'm showing the plan, everyone hears me, right? The genius of taking the light from your body. Because until I really heard of the X39, I don't even know of course I've heard of night vision goggles, but I never really thought of this. And to make that light mirror back and work, where did that come from? Is that something for years you've been doing? How did this come about for you?
Yeah, well, first of all, God created us this way, right? So this is a matter of saying, how does the human body work? And there's nothing wrong with the biochemical model of the human body. It's quite valid. So when we want to look at how hormones are produced, mitochondrial function, how is energy produced in the body, the biochemical system, that's all valid, and we need to understand those things. But there's another layer which is on top of that. So in the late 1960s or so, Dr. Becker, who wrote a book called The Body Electric, he was looking at how the electrical systems in the body control the biochemistry. But there's actually another layer above that, which is, of course, is biophotons. And this was discovered by Fritz Popp around the 1970s. And so it's very simple. These observations we can see, which will mimic things that we can learn if we read the Bible regularly. We can see that this is all about light. And you take human cells, animal cells, plant cells, you put them in a room that's completely dark, you use a device called the photomultiplier tube, and you can measure highly coherent pulses of light coming off of these living cells. And what's interesting is that we can correlate a person's biological age to biophoton emission, meaning that this is a marker now, because what we're doing, of course, in our lab is looking at how can we stop and reverse human aging. One of the markers is to look at how is light emitted from the cells and how can we improve upon that. So I think the first thing is with observation. How does the human body really work? The second thing is that in the military, they've been using light for communication for many, many decades. You take light, you modulate it, and you encode information onto it. So when I had this opportunity in the 90s to work on this project, I thought, okay, we've got satellite communications, we've got cell phones. How can we build a device that can communicate with the human body? Let's do it with light, because that's how the human body is working and how it was designed.
Amazing, thank you. Isn't that incredible? Wow. Can you explain a little bit the science behind X39?
Sure. So, light is a master control system in the body. And if we use our nervous system first as an example, we can think about doing something like moving our hands and arms, and that electrical impulse will travel through our body, it'll cause muscle contractions, and of course there has to be energy present for all of that to occur. What's so interesting is that there was work done by a scientist in California by the name of Joey Jones, and he was stimulating an acupuncture point on the big toe. And in acupuncture, this is known as a point that improves vision. So he had a hypothesis about this, and he found that when you would stimulate this point on the toe with light, it would, using a functional MRI, you could measure that this would light up the visual cortex. Now, how people thousands of years ago, how they knew that, that's something else entirely. But what he found was that the light signal through the meridian, and the acupuncture meridian is a collagen string that has minerals attached to it, that this would travel about 200 times faster than the electrical signaling through the nervous system. So we need to understand that the way that we were created was that light is going to initiate all the biochemical changes in the body. And the common example is we go out in the sun and light will cause our body to make vitamin D or whatever else. So the Lifewave patches contain a blend of natural materials. They're stereoisomers of amino acids and sugars. And they're processed in a very specific way so that when they're activated by body heat, they will stimulate the skin with very low levels of light. With X39, we want to do two things. The first thing is we want to upregulate mitochondrial function. So when the patch stimulates the skin with light, it will increase an enzyme in the cell called cytochrome C oxidase. This will in turn upregulate fat burning in the cell, and there's a signal that turns on production of GHKCU copper peptide. And of course, this in turn provides the body with all of these health and wellness benefits. So the patch is activated by body heat, stimulates the skin with light, and increases the body's levels of copper peptide.
Can you give us a little insight on your research and trials that, prove that the X39 works?
Yeah, so we fortunately had a very broad foundation of clinical studies. We started doing clinical studies about 2003, and at first the studies were designed just to see, this was the energy patches, of course, were these patches going to improve people's strength, stamina, and other measures? And we used a variety of different techniques. We used something called a capnometer, VO2 max. We used indirect calorimetry. We used devices to measure the flow of energy through the body. Later on, as I developed new products, we were doing blood testing, urine testing to measure the metabolism. We used EEG, something called an electroacuoscope, medical infrared imaging. We used a whole variety of different techniques. So we had this as a baseline of researchers that we were working with, and also different techniques where we knew that we could measure effects. So the first thing that we wanted to do with X39 was a blood test, because it was either going to elevate copper peptide or not. And the problem was that the blood test didn't exist. So we had to work with two separate laboratories in California, and we had to create a blood test. And we did that. We worked with a very talented PhD in San Diego, and they were able to create this and measure levels of GHK and GHKCU. We then set up a pilot test with 10 people. We did it, and every single person, we saw an improvement in copper peptide levels. From there, then we started to set up larger tests. We did our double-blind studies. We did a study with Dr. Brian Daly at a hospital in Rochester, New York. We were measuring copper peptide. And then we did urine studies to show what benefits people would get from wearing X39, what changes in metabolism. So the bottom line with that was that we saw that within 24 hours of putting the patch on the body, that levels of copper peptide would go up about 30 to 40%. We also saw within the first 24 hours that there were dramatic changes in the metabolism. So the ability of the body to synthesize production of different hormones off of amino acids, that went up dramatically, and that was measurable. And yeah, so the bottom line is people use the patch. Maybe some people feel it, some people don't, but the blood and urine tests show that people respond to it. So if anyone which comes up anytime when you're talking to people, they have no idea or have any kind of insight of somebody that's got over 150 plus patents.
there, you know, might be their brother-in-law, for instance, that says, you know, I tried the patch, I tried the X39, and I didn't feel anything. What would you say to someone like that?
Yeah, well, you know, for many people, this is no different than taking vitamins, and you're not necessarily going to feel, let's say, a B vitamin, but you know that it's good for your body. What I would encourage people to do is a few things. First, before they start using the patches, they should take a self-assessment and get a pretty good idea of how do I feel, am I getting tired in the afternoon, do I have aches and pains, and then they'll see 1 week, 3 weeks later that their body is changing. They're sleeping better, they're feeling better, maybe some of their aches and pains are gone. They should take a before-after photo, so take a picture of themselves before they start using the product. And then, you know, some of the really obvious things is that if people are heavy smokers, they're heavy drinkers, they're relying on pharmaceutical drugs, maybe their diet's not very good, they're not going to notice maybe the benefits as much as somebody that's getting a healthy diet and exercising regularly. So it's really important that we build up a strong foundation of those principles so we can have the best health possible.
Would you say there's a percentage of people that have done those tests you said? What percentage is getting results of everyone that you do the tests on approximately?
Yeah, it'll vary from one product to another, but let's say it's about in the 90-95% range. What we see is that on the bioelectrical level, it's about 96%. So when we apply, let's say something like the Lifewave patch to the body, it's 96% of the population, we can see a change in the bioelectrical conductivity of the tissue. And we measure this with something called an electroacuoscope. We also use a device called a biopulsar and a Menla scan. So, but in any case, somebody, let's say they have pain, they have inflammation, you apply the patches, 96% responders. That 4% can be a variety of things. That could be a deficiency of potassium, deficiency of magnesium. Usually comes down to deficiency in electrolytes where those signals can't transfer through the body. In other cases, if someone was a vegan and they weren't getting enough glycine or lysine or copper in their diet, they weren't getting enough leucine, which would be a really good example, they may not notice some changes. So let's say that someone was using X39 and X49 together, they were exercising, and they weren't seeing any results. Well, it may be something as simple as they're not getting enough protein in their diet, or maybe the quality of their protein doesn't include enough of the amino acid leucine to turn on mTOR. So the patches are there as a signal mechanism, but it's so important that people have a healthy diet to complement that.
So he's basically 96% of the people are seeing results using the X39 and the product. So that's, I mean, 4% of the population, they're probably getting something, but they just need to do a little tweaking. But that's a lot of percentage. I mean, that's incredible.
Okay, well, teaser alert. The next product we're coming out with, it's 100%.
Wow. All right, let's talk a little bit about future, about what's happening right now, kind of real quick as we're going through this. Tell them a little bit about what you see as far as the growth of the This Is It team, what's happening here. Have you seen some excitement, some volume, some momentum? What do you want to say to these folks here?
Oh my God, thank you so much. You guys are absolutely amazing. #1 team in the world. #1 team in the world.
Exciting is they are humbled because you've got this technology that they've been able to change their lives with. I mean, both physically and financially. When we talk to our friends, Obviously, you know, whether they're new or whether they're down in depth, we hear an emotional testimony first of their health, and then they're coming to us not long later because of such an incredible, and the momentum that we have here, in tears over what it's doing for their finances, because we believe more people are praying nowadays for their finances than even for their health. So this is really blessing them. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. And we're just getting started. So the vision that I have for the vision that I have for this company is very different than maybe what other network marketing companies have done. We're making the shift in our branding from being a patch company to being a life technology company. And we're actually going a step further beyond this and really branding ourselves as a technology company. And the reason for this is that in our labs, we've been able to develop new tech that doesn't exist anyplace else and is going to give us some enormous opportunities. So in the coming years, what you're going to see at the conference in Dallas in October is we're not launching a new product. We're launching a new technology. And there's going to be a product that comes from this technology, but it's the first one of many. So what you're going to see is that this technology opens up the door to products that we can release over the next 7 to 10 years. And none of these products exist in the market today. I've already received 2 patents on the technology, so Lifewave will be the only company that has this.
I know the answer to this question, but I want to have it just for that. There's a lot of new people here, so I'm going to have you answer this question for us. But a lot of these friends of mine and new friends have put their heart into companies, building a business like this in network marketing, and they've been let down. The owners have sold out. Public companies have shut down the MLM portion after they put years of leaving their families. So our question to you is, would you, in the near future, as we approach a $500 million company, are you thinking at all about selling or changing the model of our business?
Well, you know, I don't think of myself as a genius, but it doesn't take a genius to realize that when you've got a good thing, you should probably hold on to it, right? Yeah, no, this is really pretty simple. Actually, we're on target to do just over 600 million this year. Yeah, and no, I've been doing this now, of course. This is 22 years. Actually, last Saturday was our 22nd year anniversary, July 13th. Yeah, and August 13th is the 20th anniversary where I started Lifewave, the network marketing company, but we celebrated on November 10th. Yeah, no, I have no interest in selling or stopping at this point. But what I do have an interest in is now that we have this phenomenal growth, is looking at how can we secure that growth and expand our opportunities. So 2 years ago at conference, I unveiled this new drone technology that we have. And that has opened up a number of incredible doors. Just to give you an idea, by the year 2030, communication platforms using drones will be a $200 billion a year industry. And we're getting ready to break the world record in drone flight. So there's nobody that has a technology like this. And so the type of things that I think about is how can we apply this and create a network marketing company that the world has never seen before. And this is all about technology to improve the quality of human life in a number of very significant ways.
Love that. It's amazing. all the growth that's happening right now, Gina kind of was mentioning it earlier that we, get some more robots. I remember Gina's first question when she met you, can you keep up with us? I mean, we haven't had a hiccup on the logistics, thanks to Coleman and yourself, since we started. You see, is your team ramping up? Are they getting ready for this tidal wave that's happening? How are we looking as the future? Are we ready and prepared? I know we got a new building, being a grand opening of that. Tell them a little bit about the future.
Yeah, so actually, we're going to be taking on about another 70,000 to 100,000 square feet of manufacturing in Ireland. Today, we can support a company doing $1.8 billion a year. So we haven't even come close to maxing out our manufacturing facilities. But what we're going to be doing is investing in another piece of equipment so that we can take that up to about $2.4 billion a year. And that equipment will go online in 2026. So yeah, at this point, we have some great partners in the industry that we've worked with to create fully automated equipment. And this equipment actually requires now only 2 people to operate. And everything, you put the raw materials in on one side, you have 2 operators, and then the finished patches and envelopes comes out the other side. And it's very high speed. So the good thing now is we don't have any type of impediment to our growth on the manufacturing side.
Wow. So the patches are all made with our own company. We do our own manufacturing, correct?
Yeah, with Lifewave, I'll start with an idea on something, and I have a phenomenal group of engineers that I work with. So we'll take something and then we'll create a model of this in a computer, and we'll look at this, and then depending on what it is, we can test that thing or device in the computer and then start doing prototyping and fabrication. The next thing that we do is we'll perform the clinical studies, we'll file the patents to make sure everything that we do is exclusive to Lifewave. And then we want to control the manufacturing process. So in the case of the patches, one of the reasons why we have been so successful with this is that we control the supply chain. If we, at the volumes that we're doing, if we had to rely on another company, I think it'd be a disaster. So I feel that we're really blessed that we have all of this in-house and we're doing this ourselves.
Okay, as we grow, we always get copycats. People try to say they have the same. Gene and I and our friends have experienced this before. Everybody says we got the same exact patch, or it's better than X39. And they always got to use X39 or Lifewave because they got to compare it because they know you got the #1 fastest growing company. But they sound very convincing, sometimes to the newest person. Some of us that have been in, we've heard you, and we're confident saying, no, you're not even close. But can you tell everybody else that might be newer here, is anyone even close to the technology we have? Do they have any of the same? So that we're confident when we're out talking to people that we have the best and only technology like this.
Yeah, we've been at this now over 20 years, and so far, no one has been able to knock off the technology. So that says quite a bit. And I think there's always going to be people that say, hey, I have this product, this is what it does. There's always going to be some competition in the marketplace, but with our product, I don't see it. I don't see anybody doing anything remotely similar. The other things that have been on the market have been like holographic discs and these kind of things. Those things were proven to be scams. And even I think if some legitimate product does come on the market, we've got so much in place on clinical studies, on research, on the manufacturing, the global infrastructure that we've built, that I don't see any competitor getting any type of hold on what it is that we're doing. So it wouldn't really be something I'd be worried about. Okay, we got another question, and I know your philosophy, but I just want to have
my friends hear it, because sometimes when I'm talking about you, it's great to hear it from you in person than me explaining it. But I know your philosophy about having products being dumped on eBay or on Walmart or Marketplace, and I know your philosophy, and I know that you are going after these people, and you don't tell us your philosophy, because I know if you don't have the philosophy, your philosophy is I don't allow this. That's what you want your owner to be. Now we just have to go through it, and some of these people are harder to get to, am I right? And your goal is to eliminate them. You just have to go through the process.
Yeah, I mean, this is really simple. We manufacture products for Lifewave brand partners, period. And we manufacture products for our distribution channel, period. So after that, it's really a matter of dealing with places like eBay and Amazon and getting their cooperation in shutting them down. So we do have a legal team, we do have a compliance department. We've had 7 subpoenas of eBay to shut them down. So we take this really seriously, and because we do want to protect our opportunity.
I've walked into meetings where I have distributors crying to me that their kids or friends got suspended. I'm not saying terminated, but suspended, and they say, "Can you help me?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm the guy telling David to terminate." and big fines, right? We talk about this. So it's hard for me to call Mulligan or tell him, "Hey, it's okay." But usually the ones that are like this, they can be found easy. It's the ones that are being the professionals, where they really know what they're doing, that it's difficult to get. And when you talk legally, it takes some time. Do you agree?
The legal process in this country is really frustrating, on a number of different levels. In some other countries, yeah. We don't want to go down that road, right? Yeah. So, in some other countries, I think, especially in Europe, it's actually, I think, much, much easier. Because if you file a lawsuit against someone, that person has to pay for your legal fees. Not so over here in the U.S. If the U.S. adopted that system, it would be, of course, much, much better. There would be less litigation. More people would have an incentive to do the right thing. Yeah, but so all this means is that, yeah, sometimes the wheels of justice, they turn a little bit slow, but applying the constant pressure, then I think is really the way forward.
We appreciate that, don't we? Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the This Is It team here, as far as what they've been doing and where we're going, and let them know your gratitude and where we want to take this company?
Well, I mean, the first thing is thank you for all of the hard work and the time that you're putting in to build this company, because your work is changing people's lives for the better every single day. And it's truly extraordinary to be a part of this. We really are just getting started. I'm going to take several hours at the conference in Dallas and walk you through the research that I've been doing the last 6 years. And you're going to see 5 new clinical studies that we've done that we haven't unveiled yet. And this is going to open up a new era of opportunity in the business, and a new way that we look at things, and a new way that we can offer healing to people. The name of our conference is called Be the Light, and that is going to be much more than maybe a metaphor or a slogan. There's actually a deeper meaning behind it. And so we have an extraordinary opportunity before us. I don't have to tell you that the world is really in a very, very strange place now. And this country especially has become very divided. And I think what I would say is, I'm not going to give you a message of unity. What I would rather say is that actually the Bible is a book about division. The Bible is a book that talks about separating the wheat from the tares, the good from the evil. And it's very important that we as a community stay unified, and that we be a beacon of hope, that we be a light on a hill, and we show people that there's a better way, and that if we embrace this love in our hearts and we be a light to others, that this world that we live in can be a truly amazing place where there doesn't have to be the level of suffering that there is. But we just need to turn to God and look for that guidance and offer up our lives.
To be here with you today. We really appreciate you being here, and I will say that even though this team, as you say, is the fastest growing team, we are humbled to be part of it. My wife Gina told our leaders the other day that we're praying for all the leaders and all the organizations in Lifewave, because we want everyone to win and succeed. It's not just about this team. So we're humble, and we're not. We want to make sure we stay that way and not forget where we came from. And we appreciate you coming here, just sharing from your heart today. Can I get everyone to really show and let everyone know how blessed you are today?